So Kash Patel for FBI director, I think this is the top of my list. If you ask me to rank which are my favorite picks of President Trump's for his cabinet positions, I think Kash Patel tops my list. It's hard because RFK at HHS, just an absolutely bomb pick. Dr. Bhattacharya as head of NIH, that one's pretty hard to beat. And listen, I don't agree with Tulsi Gabbard on a lot of things, on a lot of social issues. She and I have pretty different viewpoints, but to put her after she had been designated as a terrorist by TSA because she dissented from the deep state, to put her in charge as director of national intelligence. That I love the disruptors. I want a disruptor. In fact, one of the reasons that we know that Kash Patel is going to be amazing at the FBI is because Andrew McCabe, former deputy director at the FBI, says that he warned on CNN that Kash Patel will be disruptive to the work of the FBI. This is Andrew McCabe.
The nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is, what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI? The installation, or the nomination, I guess we should say at this point, of Kash Patel as FBI director can only possibly be a plan to disrupt, to dismantle, to distract the FBI, and to possibly use it as a tool for the president's political agenda. And, you know, as an organization, we know what that looks like. This country has been there before, right? The pre-Watergate FBI, the J. Edgar Hoover FBI, struck fear in the hearts of Americans across the spectrum of politicians, people in entertainment, people in the civil rights community, because the director operated at the direction of presidents to collect political intelligence and to utilize the legal authorities, the investigative authorities of the FBI to terrorize and intimidate Americans. So the question is,
let's pause
is
right
that
there.
where
Let's pause right there. First of all, on YouTube live chat, Janie Cavender says, we need disruptors. Right, exactly. Andrew McCabe, this avowed leftist who's now a senior law enforcement analyst on CNN, says that this would be a bad thing. Kash Patel would disrupt the FBI. Yeah, that's kind of the point of nominating him to FBI director, because the FBI has been weaponized. And listen to Andrew McCabe for a second. Like, just replay this in your mind. He says Donald Trump wants to use the FBI to target his political enemies. No. Barack Obama and then Joe Biden after him, and the deep staters that were already embedded in the FBI were already used to target the political opponents of the Obama administration, the Biden administration, and the deep staters' leftist ideology. The FBI has been weaponized against those in President Trump's first administration, whether that was General Michael Flynn, against conservative parents who didn't want their children, their little boys, being told that they're girls, and their little girls being told they can be boys, against parents, against Second Amendment supporters, against supporters of free speech, against traditional Catholics. We're told that, oh, we might be a domestic terror threat. This FBI is the secret police of these controlling leftists. The FBI, Andrew McCabe points a finger, and four are pointing back at himself. That is exactly what the FBI has been used for, which is why we need a disruptor like Kash Patel at the FBI. Kash told us what he would do if he were nominated to be director of the FBI. And this is why the Andrew McCabes of the world are freaking out, because this is what Kash Patel plans to do. Take a listen.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here?
What are they doing there? Well, they're going after conservatives. That's what they're doing there. And Andrew McCabe, by the way, there was one other thing that he said wasn't up for debate. Not even up for debate. That Kash Patel is not qualified for this position. Actually, a lot of people either aren't familiar with or forget Kash Patel is a highly credentialed law enforcement officer. In fact, he worked in the Department of Justice under the Obama administration. And look at what award he was given. I'm going to bring this up on the screen so you can see this. When Kash Patel was at the Department of Justice in 2015, he received the Central Intelligence Agency Award for combating terrorism in East Africa. He was the only member of the Department of Justice to receive that award. So, a prestigious accomplishment based on his work. Then in 2017, Kash received the AAG Award for Excellence at the Department of Justice for his successful investigation, prosecution, and convictions of 12 terrorists responsible for the 2010 World Cup bombings. So he is a prosecutor who successfully prosecuted Islamist terrorists who killed people. Well, that sounds like pretty impressive qualifications to me. Between March 2016 and April 2017, Kash served on the DoD Joint Interagency Task Force National Capital Region as the DOJ's liaison officer to the Special Operations community. So he worked with special ops. Tell me more about his lack of qualifications there, Mr. McCabe. Embedded with Tier 1 Special Forces operators at a secure facility, Kash represented DOJ senior leadership interests to the Joint Special Operations Command, where he led a global collaborative targeting efforts against international terrorists. And what were Andrew McCabe's qualifications for the position again? Because it sounds to me like Kash Patel is very qualified. He's someone on Twitter, I don't even remember what leftist was freaking out on X about this, but they said that Kash Patel is better suited as an online troll. Kash Patel didn't even have an account on X until yesterday. Kash Patel was busy chasing down international terrorists who were trying to kill you and successfully thwarting them and prosecuting them to the point of conviction. He didn't have time to be on X. But really, what the left is afraid of is a disruptor. They're afraid of Kash Patel declassifying information because there is a necessity for classification of some information. That's not disputed. I don't even dispute that. There is a necessity for some information to be withheld, not so much from the public as in us, but from our adversaries, because if we have free access to information, then so do our adversaries. Sometimes our adversaries can use that information to harm us. And if it is absolutely necessary to protect us, then that information needs to be classified. I get that. I think you guys probably get that too. No one is saying we should have zero classification. But Kash Patel says the classification system has been abused. There's overclassification that has been used to camouflage, disguise, or bury corruption and abuse, the weaponization of law enforcement. And Kash Patel said that he proposed a declassification office where all classified information has to funnel through in order to make sure that it's information that there's a necessity for it to remain secret, at least for the time being. And all other classified information should be released to the public. One example of this, he said, is the Epstein list. Here he is talking to Glenn Beck about it. Take a look.
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting
Yes.
of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for
Right.
local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a black book or the
So, but
manifesto.
the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the black book. And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh, no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key. On how the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man-hours against John Brennan's team that did it. And we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusion. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it, and the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
Okay, what do you guys think? Hop on the chat if you're watching on X, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube. On day one, yes or no, should President Trump completely declassify Epstein's black book? Yes or no? I'm interested to hear what you guys are going to say. I think yes. I'm just going to be very transparent. I think yes. I don't care about the international politics implications of releasing a list like this. I don't care about the left, by the way, will argue, well, there's no context here. This isn't an automatic assumption of, partaking in a ring of pedophiles or something like that. Yeah, we know. But don't you think we should see it? If the people involved in Epstein's ring were so powerful that they could kill him in the most highly secured prison in the United States, shouldn't we know who's on that list? Shouldn't we know the blackmail that Epstein was holding over their heads? All right, Dave says yes. Patrick says yes. Gary says yes. Murray says yes. Gina says declassify the Epstein Black Book, the P. Diddy parties. Michael says yes. Jason says yes. Janie says yes, and several other things. Last gal says, how about questioning the people? Yeah, that would be a good next step, right? Anybody that's on that list, let's just sit you down and have a nice interview with you. Gregory says yes. Kevin says yes. Taylor says yes. Rick says yes. Okay. Windrider says hell yes. So there's nobody that thinks that this shouldn't be declassified. Well, the same for the JFK files, right? We have another video of this. This was further along in the interview Kash Patel did with Glenn Beck. They were talking about the JFK files and the 9/11 Commission report, the hidden 7 pages of that report. And this is what Kash Patel said. Take a listen to this.
I never believed that the CIA killed Kennedy.
No. You're talking to a guy that's read the entire JFK file.
You've seen all the secret stuff?
I've seen all of that, and I've seen the 7 pages of the 9/11 report. I've seen it all.
You don't say that to people that you can't tell what you saw.
Did he tell him off air? Did he? Guess we'll have to wait and see. I think we should. I disagree with Glenn, actually. I do think the CIA took part in the assassination of JFK. And this is where I hope there's a little HHS FBI crossover. RFK Jr., I hope, is involved in some way in the declassification. Maybe he should be the one that reads it out loud. Even if the FBI director, Kash Patel, is the one who declassifies it, maybe RFK should be the one to present it to the public, since it was his father and it was his uncle who were assassinated. And almost certainly the CIA was involved in some way. I do disagree with Glenn on that. Love Glenn, but I think he might be surprised then when this gets discovered. Alex says corruption exposed is corruption defeated. I think that's right. I think that's exactly right. Kash Patel is smart. The reason the left fears him is because Kash Patel isn't just experienced. He is. The left is just counting on us not knowing the complexities of his resume. But if you look at his resume, wow, very, very qualified for this position. And what that really means to the left is that Kash Patel knows where the bodies are buried. And that freaks the heck out of the left. Kash Patel exposed Russiagate, remember? So this isn't just speculation on my part that Kash Patel knows where the bodies are buried or would be good at exposing where the bodies are buried. He already did. He exposed Russiagate. So we can expect attacks from the deep state on Kash Patel. They've started their first round. This is kind of how it goes with the deep state. First, they just claim that you're a threat to democracy, but it's very vague. They don't say what they mean by that. They're just trying to make people fear it. And on MSNBC, they had an absolute meltdown over Kash Patel, calling him a threat to our democracy. Take a listen to this.
Is there enough backbone there, do you think, to defeat multiple nominees?
I don't know. I think it's possible. And look, we saw it with Matt Gaetz already, and I think that I was actually surprised how quickly that happened. To me, Kash Patel, and I don't say this lightly, is the most dangerous nominee that we've seen yet to our democracy. I mean, you might think that having Pete Hegseth running the military is a greater level of danger because of his lack of experience, or Tulsi Gabbard at intelligence. But just as far as the threats to democracy that we were warning up about before the election, and Kash Patel was a key player inside the Trump White House, pushing for and orchestrating the coup attempt in 2020. He was trying to completely take control of the Justice Department at the time. He was Trump's top lieutenant who was willing to do anything and advance any lie in service of his attempt to overturn that last election, to such a degree that there were many people that were Trump appointees in 2020 who were staying around and saying no, like standing in the breach and saying, no, not Kash Patel. Like, you cannot put Kash Patel as a temporary leader of the Justice Department, et cetera. These are Trump appointees. And so, we'll see what happens in the Senate. But if Trump had people around him that were quasi-loyalists that were like, that guy's too far, who knows what that'll mean for the Senate.
I think what this sad little man meant when he said that Kash Patel is a threat to democracy, I think he meant that Kash Patel is a threat to bureaucracy. And in that case, he's exactly right. That is exactly what Kash Patel is going to do when he is FBI director. He is going to smash the deep state bureaucracy at the Federal Bureau of Investigations to smithereens. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. My goodness. The Democrat objection. So a threat to democracy is kind of vague, right? This unsubstantiated story of quasi-Trump loyalists in the background saying, please don't put Kash Patel as even acting head of the Department of Justice. That's unsubstantiated. Who even cares? Who knows who said that? It's probably not even true. If someone even did say it, I doubt it. I absolutely dismiss that kind of vague accusation. But this is one of the hallmarks so far of the freak out on the left over Kash Patel, is they don't actually have any objections. They say, he's not qualified. He's not qualified. And it's like, okay, look at his resume. He's obviously qualified. That's a stupid allegation. And then they say he's a threat to democracy. Well, no, because this is coming from a party that deposed Joe Biden and installed Kamala Harris as their nominee. And therein lies the problem that MSNBC commentator actually had, that Kash Patel recognized, as I think most of us recognize, that there were some pretty serious anomalies with the 2020 election, that Joe Biden wasn't just such a charismatic candidate that he got, 13, 15, 18 million more votes than every other Democrat in recent election history. Yeah, that's a little bit shady, just a little bit shady. All right. But this Democrat, I watched this video, cracked me up. This Democrat voices the objections of the left to Kash Patel better than almost anybody else. So take a listen to this really substantive argument against Kash Patel.
All right, folks, we knew this was going to be bad, but this is really, really bad. Trump just nominated Kash Patel to be the director of the FBI.
You know, he's serious because his eyes
This
are
guy
so
is
wide.
the Trumpiest Trump stooge that there is. Forget for a minute that he has no experience running an agency like this. He believes that the 2020 election was stolen. He fed the rumors about this deep state trying to get Trump, which was not true.
Except for
He
the
is
two
the
assassination
hackiest
attempts.
hack that Trump has in his back pocket. He's even said that he wanted to go after journalists who wrote negative stories about Donald Trump. Now, this guy is going to be one of the top law enforcement officials in the country. This guy will do anything for Donald Trump, no matter whether it's legal or not. He will do it.
Cheryl Atkinson right now.
He is going to get rid of all senior level career law enforcement officials in the FBI and replace them with other Trump lackeys.
Oh, no.
This, I think, is the most dangerous pick yet, because this guy's going to be directly overseeing law enforcement on the ground across the country. I'm hoping that there are at least 4 Republican senators who will say no to this garbage, but I'm not sure. Everybody should be scared about this. Like, I can't even make jokes about this one. It is dangerous and reckless, and it could cause irreparable harm to the country.
I have no idea who that guy is. His TikTok handle said Tim Fullerton. I've never heard of him before. That slayed me when I saw it. He's terrible. He's dangerous. He's the hackiest hack. Well, what's your evidence there, Tim? Didn't hear anything. Didn't hear any evidence. There isn't any evidence except that the Democrats want a weaponized Department of Justice that will go after Trump and go after us because they hate us. It's a good day that President Trump nominated Kash Patel to FBI, and I think we know exactly why Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden, because Joe Biden is afraid the Biden family criminal cartel is going to be exposed and held to account by none other than Kash Patel.